Deconstructing Life. Soulless.
I want to begin a series of discussions with the audience on the subject of motive and motivation. What's the source of your impulse? If you're not subject to a divine order of things, then you are subject to a lower order of things. But certainly you're not your own motivation.
I see life differently to most people, or at least I'm capable of. The truth of life is not what we've been presented with. What we see is merely a thinly constructed veil that endeavours futilely to cover the mechanics of existence. It is this light veneer that's proved enough to quieten humanity's inquisition. An inquisition, if not misinformed, would ultimately uncover the nuts and bolts of a strained,
inadequate machine.
Since my first memory, I desire to understand, to comprehend everything that surrounds me, to appreciate my environment, and to understand the actions of others. When I was 6 years old, I received my very first radio-controlled car. By the time I was 7, I dismantled it. As gratifying as playing with the car was, this pleasure was quickly overtaken by a desire to understand how and why the car worked. I intuitively realised that the explanation of simply because it does would be an eternally unsatisfactory one. Whilst this answer
is apparently enough to appease some,
it manufactures a cul-de-sac of thinking and therefore fell exceptionally short of my curiosity and, more importantly, of truth.
Well, it looks good.
The thought that the car worked for reasons that could not be explained or understood, I also dismissed with great fervour. Everything can be explained.
Here are the secrets.
It is only once I unscrewed the fabricated yellow plastic bodywork that veiled the machine that I understood. The car did not operate on magic or hope or any form of mysticism or unfathomable concept.
She seems to vanish.
You believe that nonsense?
Every action the car fulfilled had a cause, a precise reason, an absolutely proportional contribution. What I was playing with was in fact a receiver, a motor,
Servos, cogs,
molded plastic,
metal, and rubber,
all of which facilitated the movement and actions of the car,
defining its characteristics,
behavior, responses,
its mannerisms.
The brain busily twists and folds miles of neural pathways. In the process, it stitches together the core of the child's humanity, as its countless connections set the stage for thought, self-awareness, and reason.
My car is absolutely emblematic of everything that exists in this universe.
Molecules,
planets,
music, time,
consciousness,
nature, perception, computers, emotion,
all that is animate and inanimate.
The cortex is packed with nerve cells. About 2/3 of all our neurons operate here. A piece of cortex tissue, no larger than a pinhead, can house 30,000 of these cells.
The mother's body starts to reshape and remodel itself. She becomes perfectly suited for carrying the most precious cargo imaginable.
Everything has a mechanism. You may not
see the patent for the universe, but it exists. You may not see the blueprint for your reaction to the suffering of a child, but it is no less manufactured. The direct correlation between you and your environment may not be as obviously visible as a correlation between cogs and a clock, but it is no less functioned. The universe, existence,
behavior, and life is simply equipment,
mechanized and with prescription.
Each of us is unique, and yet every one of us is more alike than we might imagine. Our chromosomes and genes are almost identical. Only 2 cells, and yet the future baby's sex, looks, even potential health problems are already determined.
Most people think they originate their own thoughts and their own impulses. And the reason is what they think that way is because they can't see that it isn't so. Because they've stopped seeing.
We are nothing more than organic machines with biological programming. There was no soul beneath the yellow body of my car, as there is no soul beneath our skin or within our hearts. Despite the overtly unsatisfactory realisation that must dawn on all of us, it is an absolute truism that the actions and thoughts of all animals can be reduced to mechanical and chemical forces.
Our most impassioned desires and most intimate dreams are nothing more than the result of sodium and potassium currents.
Sodium and potassium currents that forcefully sweep us along in absolute ignorance of our supposed volition.
Like a puppet on a string.
I want to begin a series of discussions, Most people think they originate their own thoughts. People think, and the reason is, and their own impulses, they originate, what they think that originate way is because thoughts. They can't see their own thoughts. Begin a series of thoughts. People think that it isn't so, because they've stopped seeing.
Soulless.
Deconstructing life.